سلام عليكم. أنا ريبيكا سايمون من جيبة يداعت شاميران قابل أخرى بشينة. أرخن أمان أوديو إيلي خام يقرأ بشمت ديلان أزمت يعني أدمت بلشانة إنجلس. ديلان في بيش البرية جو أربل أطرا جو شيتت البوت جامو إتجي إذا تتخاشي نوفا شيتت البوت جامو إتجي خا كلبتو بجراشنا وبرخشنا جو فرنسا. بخايلة توما هال خمشاشنا من قم آدية مدر بدار الأطرة وأباهوز بدارنا توما خش مدانا توما بخاينا خش مدانا جو فرنسا. ديلان اتلخا organization شو تسلخا organization قد بيايلا يال بناتي جيلي مدرالونا الأطرة لا بلكي قرابة دانا متخيار اخطا بلكي قخاشنا أخاشور لقد هويداي فادونا قد جاروبنا يال بناتي جيل مدريلون الأطرة قد توما بلخي والسيرفيس يبي شمدا organization إلى return بلشانت إنجلس يندا أرتا بلشانت أطوراية ديلان أفد باسيمة قد بايد منن همزمت بشنتي لخ اليداء شاميران بداين قد آتن رابا سباي لشانت أطوراية كهمزمت إينا لأزديو خدش برشتله من دي بدايلا قد بشراهت ميدال همزمخ بلشانت إنجلس همزمتم تو دخله إينا إن بس مالك بلأزد جانوخ خدش ما خبرانة تاني قشقانت يداعت شاميرا
هايتن بسيمة كل أخن أنا شمي ديلاني ناشد عن كاوين أنا هوين قاود أربل بشات تشي وزيلي أخت فرنسا وطامع عيشين 28 حل تريلبو تشاسر ضئيرين طالد عراق ضئيرين تأثرن وأي قرار شقيلين يعني شقيلين وقمد مشان تعراق وبيشن بعنكاوة ومن بثرة أي خمششن طامين وكل خاي بيشتلا طامة ويدين منظمة شما دأرتا العودة the return تمسعودة سرايد كبي دأري طالد بلد أصله طالد أثرو.
Basima Rabba Dilan, thank you very much for your introduction. And I know that you have a master's degree in France in legal services, or I don't know how exactly is translated into English. So you worked in France, almost a Frenchman, you are a French citizen.
Completely.
And what inspired you to take on such a huge task and make a lifetime change of going back and living at your birthplace? What happened?
So, as you said, I was in France. I was working in France in a law firm. I had a good job in Paris, and I lived most of my life there, actually. So, my mother tongue is Suret, but my native language is French, in a way. Yes, I'm completely French. I have the French citizenship and everything. But we used to travel a lot to visit our relatives in Europe or in Iraq, and since a very young age. So I used to compare the life here and there, and I was feeling that something was missing in my life in France. And this thing missing was the connection with the people, with the land, with the culture, the environment we have there. Especially in Ankara, in Erbil, but actually in the whole Iraq, including with other communities. So this thing was missing in my life, and you know, I had this reflection. I was thinking about the situation, like, does the life is it worth it to spend our whole life looking for a career, for money, for building, I don't know, having a loan and having a house, buying a house? Or is there something else in life which makes more sense? And I was thinking about this for years before moving to Iraq. And I even started learning Arabic in France when I was in France. So I was in the law school, and the College of Language was very next to us. So I started learning Arabic because I knew that at a point I would want to be back in my country of origin, even if I never lived there, only a few months when I was born. So yeah, I compared basically the way of life between Athran, between our homeland, and the Western countries. And I realized that it makes more sense to be in this more human environment, more social environment, which is the Middle Eastern countries in general, actually.
How do you balance living in a country that is not necessarily westernized, and how is it that parting from the comforts of a westernized country, is that posing any challenges? I know that something as simple as internet connection is not always reliable in northern Iraq, and all other comforts and cultural aspects of two really very distinct countries. How do you balance that?
So the first thing, I will try to have a different perspective on the word comfort. So what's comfort? Is it just material? Is it having access to some things, material things? So of course, let's say electricity and water and some infrastructures were better in France, in Europe, or probably in the US. But if you have another perspective about the word comfort, I'm much more comfortable now in Iraq for other reasons. So if you think about commuting to go to work, spending 2-3 hours a day in the traffic, stuck in a car, or living for work, not working for living, living for making money. So is it comfortable? So my point is that we just need to think about it from a different perspective. And I'm not sure we are very comfortable in the West, looking for our career and money. And we are, in a way, enslaved in the Western countries. So actually, I'm much more comfortable now in Iraq with the very rich social life, with humanity. Of course, there is a lack of some infrastructures, but we have solutions for all of them. So electricity, we have alternative electricity, for example. For water, we have tankers, all of us in the rooftop of every single house. There is a tanker of 1,000, 2,000 liters. And so we always have water in a way. It depends on the areas, of course. Some villages, some neighborhoods are more complicated. About internet, I have the fiber optic at home, like everyone else in Ankara, and I can do whatever I want. It's faster than the one I had in France, actually. So about the comfort, yeah, it's just about the perspective you have on this word, on this definition.
Very good. I know that you lived in Nantes.
Yes.
Which is a very small area, small community in France. I was there about a month ago.
Yeah.
And it was at times challenging to find transportation. And traveling from Charles de Gaulle airport to Nantes was hectic. I don't know whether we're Americans, it was hectic
Probably.
to our standards,
Yes.
or. But at any rate, I understand what you're saying, and I'm glad that you've gone past and beyond those physical comforts, and you're comfortable at heart with where you are, and you're happier there, as I hear you saying. So that is a good thing. Now, tell me, living in Iraq with your organization, tell me a little bit about Return, the Arta in Assyrian. What is the goal that you're trying to accomplish?
Basically, I faced many challenges when I moved back to Iraq. Nobody supported me, like even my family, my relatives. Nobody understood this decision. But my French friends, for example, they understood that I wanted to reconnect to my homeland, to be back in my homeland, to be able to be useful for my community at home. So my French people were supportive, but not my Assyrian network, let's say.
That's interesting.
Yes. Not abroad, nor in Iraq. Nobody was understanding that. But at the same time, I know that many people are tired of the Western life, and in a way, they want to come back, they dream to come back. Some people here at the convention told me, I'm dreaming, I just want to see this place, I just want to see the homeland, because it's been 50 years, 60 years, they are abroad, and they just want to reconnect, just one day, 1 week. It's easier than what we imagine, but at the same time, I understand the challenge, because I faced the same challenges, the same struggles. So the idea of creating this organization, the ARTA, was quite natural for me. I said, I'm facing this, I know other people are facing the same challenges, so logically, I'll set up this organization to help people, to facilitate this process, to ease this process. So yeah, we want to make it possible, not just a dream, to make it something that you can do tomorrow if you want. Coming back for a visit, but for settlement also, to live there, to work there for people who want to work, to have a place there, and if you want to work remotely, for example, to have a place, a safe environment with people who understand you, who have been through the same story from the west to the east, let's say, to help people invest there or to get their citizenship back. So there are many things, many needs which are very specific to our diaspora abroad. So I wanted to provide support to all these people.
So how do you provide the support? Are you working with any of the governmental agencies in ATRA or agencies outside of the ATRA to facilitate this maybe semi-permanent or short transition to Iraq?
Yes, so we are working on all of this. So we are working on very immediate material needs. So that's why, for example, we are writing a guide on how to return with all the answers you need to know for all the questions you have when you come back. We are working with public decision makers to raise awareness about this situation, about this cause, but also to be able to facilitate, for example, the ones who want to get their citizenship back and who left 70 years ago. They should be able to get it, but it's not easy because it has never been renewed, so it's not even registered in the Iraqi system. Many people abroad are not registered. So we are trying to work on all these topics. We also have a network of people returning or who has already returned, or the ones who want to return. So we try to connect all these people. We also do case management, which is, let's say, the entry point of all our activities. So everyone who wants to come back, we propose to have a first interview together to assess the needs of this person. So to understand what they know about Iraq, what they have, do they have an income here or there? What do they want to do? Do they want to come like 3 months a year? Do they want to buy a house to live their retired life there? Do they want to find a job? So we do this initial interview, and based on this, we start what we're calling the case management. So being with this person, with this family, at all steps of this return path.
And do you also find them employment, or do they have to be already employed outside of Iraq and just working remotely?
Yeah. So it's really different. It depends on the profiles of people. Some people have an income from abroad and they don't even need to work. For example, elderly people who have an income or they already have something abroad, so they don't really need to work. For the young people, now the easiest way to go back to the homeland is to have a remote job. So they can work from wherever they want, they can spend as much time as they want there, and they still have an income from a Western country, which is usually quite good income, which is enough for living there. So it depends on the profiles. About providing jobs, we are now working on building a network of entrepreneurs, of professionals, of businessmen, especially in Erbil, to be able to connect these people who want to return and the people there who want to recruit some specific talents. And we have these talents here and there. So we are trying to connect these people together. So it's not as easy, it's not as straightforward. We cannot say, if you come, we find you a job. This doesn't exist in any place in the world. But we will be at all steps with this person and we'll try to connect them.
What are some of the professions that are in great demand? There's a shortage of them in Atra, in the areas where you're working.
Actually, there's no strong demand on something specific because we have very talented people there. So, for example, about engineers, we have all kinds of engineers there, but there's a lack of businesses, for example, or companies working or recruiting these engineers. So, for example, in this situation, I will prefer having an investor from here, from the West, from US, from Europe, investing there, opening a company about software engineering, for example, and recruiting people from abroad and people from Iraq, both. So I will not say there is a strong demand on one specific area.
I know that there are no guarantees in life. However, I think if it's a good risk for an investor to be investing in Iraq, that some may consider taking their businesses there. Can you tell us a little bit about the security of investment in Iraq, and how can people feel more at comfort that should they bring their capital to Iraq, that at least there is some guarantee that their funds will be safe?
Yeah, so for small or medium businesses, it's quite normal, like everywhere else. You can open a business, you can do business. For bigger businesses, it can be complicated because the situation in the country is still not stable politically. So that will be the main challenge. But at the same time, through networking, through connections, you can achieve many things there. So I will never say that it's not risky. Entrepreneurship is risky everywhere, but even more in a country which has been in a difficult situation since 2003. It was for a few years more or less a failed state. So in this environment, I will not tell that it's completely safe for investment, but many things exist, many opportunities. So I'll suggest people to come and see what's happening, because also the entrepreneurs from here probably have a better idea than me. Like they will identify, they will see things that I may not see. So the first step will be to come, to assess the situation, to understand the environment, the standards for everything, and then they will be able to invest in some things. And we have people like this. For example, we have people here at the convention. They have developed a business of clothing, very interesting. And the next step, I know some of them, the next step is to open a factory there. So the investment will be this way. Like it makes sense it's not only making money, it's also making sense when you invest there.
Let's assume somebody out there, a young person, who wants to give it a try and move there and see what it's like. What is the process that they have to take? What do they have to do?
Yeah.
Who do they contact?
Yeah, so the website is the-return.co. Yeah, so they can contact us, and as I told you, we start the case management process. So we assess the needs and the wishes of this person who wants to return. So is it just for a visit? Is it for living there? Is it do they have an income? Are they in need of anything? Do they have relatives there? Do they have housing? Do they have people who can support them or not? So depending on this, we will adjust our support. And in the near future, we have one of our big projects, which is called the Hub. So far, the Hub. Yes, and it will include housing, like small apartments for these people. It will include a co-working space. It will include a resident lawyer who will be there every day to support these returnees in all their legal and administrative needs, and a few other activities like exhibition, language courses, and everything. So this is our biggest project so far, and we're quite hopeful about this. So when people will come, we'll be able to provide them with an apartment to live this experience like by themselves, not only with a group. So we have many organizations here who do visits every year to the homeland, and for me it's very important. They should start, especially the youth, the ones who have never lived in any Eastern country. They should start with these groups to discover, just to be in a safe environment, let's say a comfortable environment with people like them coming from abroad. They should start with this, and the second step will be to create their own experience there through a few weeks, a few months living experience there.
Now, it looks like that you have a system set up already to welcome people who want to go there. And with that, there's a lot of effort, perhaps cost that is associated. Do you require people to, with all of the work that you're doing ahead of time, that there will be a minimum number of days or months of stay?
It really depends on each one. So some people just want to discover, to taste in a way their roots, to be close to their roots, just a few days, a few weeks. It depends on everyone. Some people only have 2 weeks a year of leaves. They cannot stay more. So for these people, we cannot blame them. I always tell people you should come 1 week rather than one month. If you cannot come more, like just come 1 week. It's better than not coming, you know. So just come, see, understand, try to meet people. And so, yeah, I will not say there's a minimum for coming. Of course, the longest you stay, the better it is for having your own experience. But yeah, start with a group, come again alone or with your family, with your friends, and experience yourself the life there.
Is there a language requirement? Or what is easier? What language is it easier to know in order to stay there?
So we are in a multicultural country. So if you are, for example, it depends on the scale. So if you are in Ankawa, most of the people speak Surat, so you'll be comfortable with speaking Surat with the people. Outside of Ankawa, most of the people speak Kurdish. And outside of the Kurdistan region, the main language is Arabic. And in some specific areas, you have Turkmen, you have other languages. So it depends, let's say, on what you want, where you're going, what you want to do. But now, most of the people, especially the young people in Iraq, they speak English. So if you know some English, some Surat, it's fine. You'll be able to do whatever you want. But of course, for longer term resettlement there, I strongly recommend people to learn Arabic, of course, and as much as possible Kurdish too. It's like us when we emigrate to Sweden or to the US or to Germany. We learn Swedish and English and German. So it's the same when you go to a country where the main languages are not only Surat, not only Assyrian. You need to learn the other language so it can be integrated in the society.
So in Garbia of Iraq, the official language for documents is what language?
So it's Arabic in the whole country. It's Kurdish in addition to Arabic in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. And in some specific areas, like in Ankawa, Surat is also considered as an official language.
Okay. Yeah. Do you also, you mentioned something about people coming, visiting short term, just to see they like it. Do you also help visitors who don't want to stay? They just want to come visit and see their own Atra and get in touch with their historical sites. Do you have programs for such travelers?
So we have several organizations. The first one, I think, was Gishru. They started in 2008, not formally, but quite quickly they became a formal organization, established organization. So these organizations, like Gishru, they are already doing this. So what we do, instead of having our own program so far, is working with them. So when they come, we are with them. For example, in Ankawa, we do a workshop about this experience. We talk about returning to the homeland. We try to facilitate a few things to help these visitors, to network also, to make connections between all of us. So now, for example, at the convention, I know maybe 30, 40 people, and I met all of them in Ankawa in the past 3 years. So we are making connections. We are building bridges, let's say, between the diaspora and the homeland, and that's how we support them. In the future, if people want to have some more specific programs for visiting, yeah, we can definitely do that. And there's another project we have. It's let's say summer camps for young people, students who want to spend 1 month, 2 months there, but having an experience which could include some work. So they can be like interns in a local company there. They can be a few weeks in villages to see how the life is there too. So that will be, let's say, more advanced program for visitors. So people who do not want to live there permanently, but they want to have a living experience in Iraq.
I am sensing a reawakening in Assyrians to go back and revisit the countries that they read about, only read about in annals of history or saw documentaries. Now we want to go back and see it and get connected. And I know of many people who have returned to Atra, and I've talked to them, and they become very emotional.
Yes.
It's an impactful travel, revisiting or visiting of their country. And I thank you very much for allowing that to happen to many of us. What is long-term for you? What are your life plans? Do you know? You're a young man, 34. What do you think is ahead for you?
So for me, my plan is to stay there. So I'm building my life for 5 years there. I will always have a sort of connection with friends, of course, But I decided that this second part of my life, let's say, should be in my home country. So that's the plan. I want to be more invested in this cause of returning, probably doing advocacy, influencing all the decisions that happen in Iraq and outside of Iraq also, to make this dream possible. Because for me it's crucial, it's extremely important, because we are only 150,000 remaining there and around 2 million in the diaspora, more or less. So if we don't do anything, if people from abroad do not reconnect to the homeland, it means that in a few years, in a few decades, we will just be part of history and not something living anymore. We will disappear from this area if we don't do anything now.
And of course, as we all know, moving away from the center, that is the Middle East, the center for Assyrians, means melting away. That's very obvious. I've lived in the West for the past 50 years, and I see it firsthand, and it saddens me. And of course, numbers are power. The more we are in Atra, the more impactful, powerful we will be, the more influential and the richer. And our culture will survive, our language will flourish. So I understand, and I am very respectful of your dedication, your work, your patriotism, and your love of country. And I wish we have more young men like you, and perhaps the young people will see your vision and will follow suit. And I wish you all the best, Dilan, for who you are, first of all, and what you do.
Thank you. بخلد عليها, as we say.
Any other messages that you'd like to give to Shamira Media viewers?
I would say just come and see. It's even written in the Bible, come and see. So just come. I know all our people in the diaspora. We have communities, we have organizations, we have a lot of activities here. It's wonderful. And discussing with all the people here at the convention, I see that there's something missing, which is the connection with our roots. So of course now we became hybrid in a way. We are a bit from the West, a bit from the East. But try to come, see what's happening there, and just visiting is impactful. And then you can see what you want to do. But I would say the first step is to come, visit, get in touch with us, and that's it. Life is short. It's worth it to come. Thank you.